We should not send women into the front lines of a conflict, nor should we send men into the front lines of educating our preschoolers.
How about all war bad? We shouldn't be sending people in the front lines at all. We shouldn't be sending young, poor people to go shoot other young, poor people in other countries, like just for the benefit of the military-industrial complex. That sounds great, right? Doesn't matter of the gender.
Well, there's a lot of evidence that men are more extreme. They're more likely to be deeply obsessed with something, and chess is a game that rewards obsession. They're more competitive, too. Men have more power to focus incredibly intensely on something. And here's a fun fact. In a chess tournament, competitors think so hard they can burn as many calories as an athlete playing a sport. It's been proven time and time again. The evidence is clear. Men have a competitive advantage in chess. There are women-only tournaments because if there weren't, women would almost never win major tournaments. Not because anybody is stronger, anybody is bigger. If you ever see a chess champion, you know, a gust of wind will blow them over sometimes.
Because they have monstrously huge craniums. It's their high IQs that allow them to dominate.
I'm saying like 5'3" and 112 pounds. It doesn't matter. If you have a male brain versus a female brain in chess, you have a competitive advantage. The data is clear. It's not a patriarchy. It's not some systemic sexism.
Thank you. Meow finally hit this one. Chess is stored in the balls. That's just the reality. That's the science behind this. We know this now. And this is one of the reasons why there's a difference between the leagues. If we didn't do that, I mean, there's a decided advantage because, again, yeah, it's stored in the balls. Yeah.
Men spend hours and hours and hours memorizing hundreds of openings and moves and counter moves. The first 5-6 moves of chess unfold like a book, and top players have them all memorized.
The chesticles. Yes, absolutely. The chesticles. I would posit, you know, without having looked at whatever study or document that Charlie Kirk's looking at right now, that a lot of, you know, what is considered today to be a disadvantage to women in chess happens to also do with the reinforcement of a structure of, is chess considered something in which it could be a viable, you know, career path for women to take? Or is it from the very fucking, you know, early indoctrination of our gendered fucking society that when you're young, you're told to like certain things, and boys are taught to like certain things, and boys are also taught to have to conquer and defeat one another, and to always have conquest and be winners in all things, and that's how you define yourself as a man, by your ability to be the number one man, number one baby, and a lot of that has to reinforce gendered stereotypes that play out in a lot of ways, including perhaps young people dedicating much more time towards things like chess. Do I think that there is enough of a demonstrable difference between men and women and their intelligence in order to say that this is not something that should be gendered? No. No, I don't understand why chess is gendered at all, to be completely frank.
Chess is very similar, by the way, to why women do not get into coding. Some do, but most do not. Why women don't get into science, technology, engineering, and math.
Yeah, like, how long have women been allowed to get into STEM? How long has that been going on? How long have women been allowed to work in the workforce? When did that start? Did it take a global conflict in which there weren't a lot of male hands in factories to suddenly, I don't know, put a significant part of the female population into the workforce? Was that a sudden change?
Because in some ways, chess is an algorithm. This is why it's so hard to beat the best computers in chess. Because eventually you can game out the first 5 moves, and then the first 10 moves on top of it. It becomes kind of a building formula. And it's such intense brain power. If you ever watch the top chess masters, how fast they move. The margin for error.
I'm not going to deny for a second that it's not phenomenally impressive to watch chess masters at work. That has nothing to do with any of this. Why do we have a large, like, and why is it that when you correct for a lot of these things, I know Jordan Peterson likes to say, like, well, actually, when we look at a lot of societies in which we do correct for, say, you know, patriarchal subjugation, and which we could say it's the most equitable society for men and women, we still don't see, say, in Scandinavian countries, women gravitating towards those things. Ergo, vis-a-vis, I posit from this that women don't want to do these things. That's what this shows. And it's like, again, it's only exceptionally recently, in terms of our history, both as humans and society writ large, that we have a cataclysmic change in which women have entered the workforce in large percentages. And yeah, it seems to be playing out in not the way that you're describing. There's now a very large percentage of women entering a lot of fields, especially in medicine. And then it's like one of those things where now women are dominating a lot of these fields in terms of their academic enrollment. And that is a problem. You know, but why is that a problem? And again, things like STEM have been predominantly dominated by men. And it's one of those things where even if you enter these careers, you're going to enter a boys' club for the most part. Doesn't matter what aspect of it. If it's coding for games, they're going to be dominated by men. If it's coding for fucking, you know, just regular software and programming, it's going to be overwhelmingly dominated by men. If you're trying to get into any of these fields, it's like, it's pretty surprising that there's only like, what, 20% of the entirety of, you know, film and entertainment outside of like, you know, certain positions that are actually dominated entirely by men. It's like, well, these are boys clubs, and they're boys clubs that reinforce boys clubs. There's something called, like, you know, what is it, the pink work belt, in which it's like, well, these industries predominantly dominated by men who promote other men. It takes a very, it's challenging, absolutely, for a woman to try and enter those fields and then climb it.
There is nothing. Now I'm going to say something that
if the X-Men went woke, it's called the X-Them. I don't know what this is related to, but that's actually half decent.
You should, I'm going to say it. I'm just saying that I'm going to connect all these dots together. Women are notorious for still remembering the details of arguments that they had from years ago. Can we get that Dennis Prager clip, Ryan, that's going viral on YouTube, please? It's perfect.
Is this channel still a pathetic echo chamber that has a mental breakdown at any pushback on your ultra-leftist NPC takes? What's your incredibly enlightened non-NPC leftist take that you want to present to the class? I'm interested.
And Dennis, to his credit, has been doing male.
We'll see if I can keep it together.
And female hour for years, and now it just kind of one of the most popular things you could do. You can see this difference, by the way, in how trans people,
here we go,
male to female, have a sex fetish. Their idea of women.
Okay, I'm gonna be honest. I thought he was talking about, which is a very recent story that just came out about how, yeah, ultimately we do have this thing going on in which chess is fucking, they're ramping up their transphobia, you know, and then they've made a whole bunch of recent decisions that cannot be explained in anything other than it's got its roots in bigotry and its purpose is bigotry. That's the only reason I can see it. And I thought that's what he was about to talk about, or he was about to bring it up. And I assumed that was going to be the next course for this discussion, but Charlie Kirk had to enter that first, you know, had to kind of just give away his own fucking tells. It's like, well, yes, and so we know that anyone who is trans is doing it because of a sexual fetish, so because of that, I mean, Matt Walsh posted that the other day, and it's like, these are all just such fucking reveals. You're giving the play away when you're just like, it's all inherently sexual. It's like, well, I understand that you see it only as inherently sexual. That explains a lot, right? You have to go past the stage of being erotically aroused male in a dress, which eventually results in the orgasm. But when the orgasm is over, it continues to stay in the dress. You begin to discover there's other parts of yourself. This video is important because it shows clearly beyond any shadow of a doubt that transgenderism was always understood as a sexual fetish. Men did it because it aroused them. Only in recent years was it taken on the cover of an actual literal identity. But this is how you see it. Like, this is the way that's the lens in which you see the world. You see everything LGBTQ plus as inherently sexual, which is why you think its very existence, or people just existing as queer, is obviously inherently sexualizing children or something like that. It's just like, no, they just exist.
Is really sexualized, reflecting how men think, while female to male trans people.
That's the reason why Committed Chess has an open category and a women's category. The women's category is an attempt to make it an open category, less of a boys' club. Understood.
Are fleeing from sexuality in many cases. By the way, women tend to be more sensitive, compassionate.
My favorite male-female difference. I always tell wives, when you ask your husband, what are you thinking?
Which one, the first, the second, or the third?
And he says, nothing really. He is not lying to you.
That's, sorry, not true. Not true. I think a lot of dudes suffer in silence because it's expected of us, right? We're not supposed to trouble other people with our feelings and emotions. That would make us hysterical femoids. No. We're supposed to be, of course, calculated. at all times. You know, we use rationale to be able to make the best possible decisions. We don't let our moon's blood control our thought process, which is why it would be so dangerous to actually have a female president. Could you imagine what happens once a month when, you know, what if she gets PMS and then decides to fucking nuke another country? Hillary, no, don't do this. Like, none of this is true. Like, it's misandrist in the highest order to think that, you know, oh, you know, when a dude's like, everything's fine, he means it. Men are simple creatures, dumb, controlled by their dicks. That's basically all they are. And so you don't get fucking any nonsense with men. You know, you ask a guy what's troubling you, he'll tell you the truth. He'll say what is honestly the truth. Nothing. That's right. Nothing. Nothing ever should.
It takes remarkable patience, compassion, emotion. It's a motherly type role.
And herein lies the problem with all this shit, you know? And it sucks for everybody. It sucks for women, you know? You're fucking continuously reinforcing this idea that, well, women have to be caretakers, mothers, and nurturing. And honestly, for us to even have any value towards them, I mean, they have to project the fact that they're gorgeous and beautiful, and that's why men have to get trophy wives and collect them like a possession, like anything else. That's the whole point of woman. And then eventually she can have children, take care of the kids, raise them, and then man can, you know, bring home the bacon or the bread or wherever foodstuffs is your ideal. And then it turns out, well, this whole dynamic is really fucking with a lot of people, especially if women are career driven and they don't need a man to support them. Suddenly, you know, the dating game changes dramatically because the only thing that they're looking for is not money. They might be looking for, I don't know, good men, dudes who are more than just fucking surface level. I am man. I have no emotion. I'm never sad. No, don't speak, you know?
And that's why 80 to 90% of all kindergarten, first and second grade teachers are women, and it should be that way. That's a beautiful thing. Let's know our differences. Chess is like war.
And let's force these differences upon one another over and over and over, despite the outcomes being really shitty. How can you on one end talk about things like male loneliness? You know, the right is bringing a lot of these topics up, and like, they're like, oh, the left never approaches these topics. They won't even acknowledge that male loneliness is a real fucking epidemic. And it's like, God, no, I'm always talking about that shit. I'm always trying to bring it up. But a lot of this has to do with us reinforcing these really unrealistic gendered expectations of one another. Men, you have to be fucking strong. You have to be conquerors. Women, you have to be nurturing, empathetic, beautiful. Men, don't be empathetic. That's gay as fuck. Don't be gay too. That's even worse. But like, come on, don't be gay. Don't be womanly. Don't hold your hand like that. Well, that's gay or womanly. No, don't do that. Don't do that. Okay, and hopefully this all works out. It's like, wow, there's fucking mass alienation, mass male loneliness, tons of problems happening under capitalism, tons of dudes who do not have the tool set or aren't equipped to even fucking deal with handle this shit because they can't talk to anyone about it. They can't talk to their friends about it. They can't. If you have guy friends, you're gonna be fucking considered weak amongst the tribe if all of a sudden you're the one who's bringing up, I actually cry a lot and I cry myself to sleep and I'm always sad and I don't know why. So, gay. What are you, gay? Sounds gay, bro. I don't know. Pretty gay. I don't know. Fucking tits, ass. What do you need here? Beer, tits, ass, beer. I don't know. You're making me feel gay now, bro. All right. I'm having a feeling. I don't like feeling. I don't want this, bro. Okay. I don't know. Go talk to someone else about this. Fuck.
It's very similar. This is why I've said that women should not be in frontline combat roles in the military, and the media hates it when I say that, but it's true.
Why does he do that after every statement? It kind of looks like he's smiling at his own fucking like reverence or something. It's like am I the only one noticing that? He's done that I think twice or 3 times now. Right there.
Combat roles in the military, and the media hates it when I say that, but it's true.
I didn't even know that was like a Charlie Kirk tell or something. It's like he good point. Fucking, I'm killing it. This is a really good broadcast.
It's not to say that women don't have a role to play in trying to win the war or win a war, but this is so much of a deeper red pill than any normal sport can be. Modern liberalism orders us to deny reality and pretend that women are just like men. Or even weirder, it asks us to pretend that they are defective men, and they are not. They are different from men. Our differences are beautiful. We should celebrate them. We should not.
No one on the left isn't saying that. Celebrate them, for sure. But also don't pigeonhole everyone and don't force them to have to fucking fit into one type that, like, displeases you if they don't. What are you, wearing pants? You're a little bit butch? Short hair? What? That's masculine. What are you doing? What are you, lesbian? She gay? Why is she dressing like that? I don't like it. Don't like any part of this.
Send women into the front lines of a conflict, nor should we send men into the front lines of educating our preschoolers.
How about all war bad? We shouldn't be sending people in the front lines at all. We shouldn't be fucking sending young, poor people to go shoot other young, poor people in other countries, like just for the benefit of the military-industrial complex. That sounds great, right? Doesn't matter of the gender.
Do you enjoy the Serfs but prefer not to have to use your eyeballs? Many are saying this. Well, we've got the solution for you. It's the Serf Times in podcast form, available on most major podcasting networks now. If you enjoy it, please consider leaving a good review and feedback because it really helps the show out, apparently, and it's free, just like the podcast.
Thank you kindly to our Lord and Saviors Peyton L. Just and Xander Corvus. Without you, we are nothing. And now, a shout out to our Knights of the Square Table. Amazing Flesh, Anna Loves Riley, Adrian McCarthy, DM Rivera, Doug Cady, Everything Important, Hegbard Celine, Izzy Solidarity, La Media Panza, Matthew Scarborough, Multimondi, Nettle, Omni, Peanut Butter Blonde, Political Papi, Quiet 185, Rachel K, Riley and Anna, Roller Dragon, Kubi, Cernicus, Spinach Monster, Stellar Vision, Sebastian Dimmel, Thomas, Trevbot EXE, Lucidry, Words Greenwood, Cheryl Alvarez, Tony Perkins, Thomas, O'Pecker, Travis McClinton, and Victoria Bell. Thank you so much. And a huge shout out to all the other people who make this entire show possible. Without you, it would not exist. If you can support us, please go to patreon.com/theserfs, and even $1 can help unlock all of the little goodies and help make this show entirely possible.